Hi everyone, welcome to Special Interests with Bob and Donna. We're going to continue our Best Serial Killer Books series with Part 2. Part 1, if you haven't taken a peek at it, Bob covered his trilogy, Dickie, Richard, and I, The Signing, and The Triumvirate. So today we're going to do a 4-part series, and you're going to meet a wonderful character by the name of Justin Barnes. He is my favorite character. For those of you who don't know who we are, I'm a retired educator, and Robert is an award-winning crime thriller novelist and outdoors writer. He's written books on fishing, hunting, bow fishing, etc. And he's also written a book on how to write well and get published, right? Okay.
And make a few bucks.
And make a few bucks. Okay. A few bucks. Don't quit your day job, right? Okay, folks. I'm going to leave it to Robert, and I'm going to go behind the camera, and we hope you enjoy.
Thank you, Donna. Okay. In part 1, just as a quick follow-up, we had covered my very first novel, Dickie, Richard, and I, a story of madness in the making, followed by its sequel, The Signing, and to complete that trilogy, the 3 books, The Triumvirate. So as Donna just said, if you missed that, you can view that. Okay. So, as Donna just mentioned, we are going to now look at my second set, if you will, called the tetralogy. Most of us are familiar with a trilogy, 3 books. So when you talk about a tetralogy, you're talking about a 4-book series. What I neglected to mention last time, whether it be my 3-book set or my 4th book set, they can all stand by themselves. You do not have to read them in sequential order. However, for more of an appreciation, you could. You should. So anyhow, take that for what it's worth. If the first book is the author and you deal with the teacher, it's fine. You're not going to really miss a beat, because again, they stand by themselves. And we're going to talk a little bit about the first 2 books. Initially, through Port Town Publishing. What was that, Wisconsin, Donna? It was in Wisconsin, Port Town Publishing. It was a legitimate, small, they didn't do a great deal, but it was a legitimate press. But they really didn't have their act together. I wanted my first book in a series published, called The Author. But look how thick the book is in comparison to The Teacher. So what happened was the Teacher was published first. She wanted to see, and understandably, how this book was going to do before she did The Author. After I received, I was an award winner for 2006 with The Teacher, 2007 with The Author. There's a little bit of an issue. When the book came out through Port Town Publishing, it was so thick that her binding machine really couldn't handle it, so she did the book in 2 parts. To add insult to injury, people received the book and pages were falling out. Subsequent to that, she folded her tent. many of us in her stable, so to speak, had an issue with royalties. And I won't get into bad-mouthing her any further. I'll kind of leave it there. I could get into convicted felon. And that brings us to a very important point. Donna is my research, but well, I do tremendous research, but Donna will do research and beyond that. Donna, is this publisher, that prospective publisher that I'm dealing with, is she legit? Is the company, is the publisher legit? The only recourse we had in those days, I don't know if it still stands true today, you do the best you can. Donna got onto a site called Predators and Editors. Am I right, Donna? And there was no black mark against them. But that tells you something in that it wasn't thorough. She did have black marks against her. Well, anyways, eventually we put our own brand on it, if you will. And that's a whole story unto itself. I don't know if we'll have time to get into that. But for whatever it's worth, Legit Publishing received accolades for Best Suspense Thriller for 2006 and 7. And let's see where we'll go from there. Okay, the antagonist, the bad guy, the serial killer in this book is a fellow by the name of Malcolm Colombo. Little symbol there, Mal meaning bad. It's a good given name for this character. Malcolm Colombo later on will work in concert with another prolific serial killer, Clarence Emery. Clarence meaning clear one. The man is a professor, and those two working in a team are horrific. So, my protagonist in the series, in the 4-book series, which everyone seems to love, is a Afro-American maverick. Initially a gun runner, some drugs, and he winds up working covertly for Suffolk County Homicide. Wow. Interesting. I have to build in, as I discussed the last time we used these multisyllabic words like verisimilitude, credibility, believability, and I think I do a good job on that. Again, he is their weapon, they being Suffolk County Homicide. His background, wow, working for Suffolk County Homicide, but how that comes into play I think you'll find interesting. Have to buy the book. Okay, so that'll give you a little insight into who we're dealing with here. Let's see. We did the book binding, we did the royalty, touched on that, and her folding her 10 Predators Editors. Okay, so the next book that we put out after the author is The Teacher. And again, this won an award. When I say won an award, it was through New Book Reviews for both of them. This is The Teacher. Okay, the sequel to the author. Let me just, rather than belabor, let me read a couple comments that I received from some people that I know, some people that I don't know, some people with credentials who I don't know. Nice pat on the shoulder, kudos. The author is action-packed. The characters are driven, and the ferocity of the story will stay with you long after it ends. The question is not when this novel hits movie status, but who will play the part of Malcolm Columbo. That was from Patty Ann Bangan, author of New Beginnings, a must-read novel. And let's see where we go here. Another comment on the back of the book. When two ostensibly dissimilar murders occur on Long Island preceding another in Old Town, Maine, two seasoned Suffolk County homicide detectives note certain similarities that carry the killer's signature. The investigation leads authorities to believe that an eco-terrorist is punishing those deemed responsible for environmental pollution by claiming the lives of their loved ones. That's how he hits them, and hits them hard. A more compelling mystery surrounds the killer as factions within federal, state, and local governments look the other way in the interest of national security, while a mafia don and his crew work the parameters. Upon further investigation, it is learned that serial murderer Malcolm Columbo is the author and architect of an operation who safely places FBI agents within the ranks of extremist groups around the globe with the help of a wealthy industrialist. An unlikely vigilante with a vengeance searches unrelentingly for the madman. Justin Barnes seeks out, with the help from the maverick's scintillating associate, Jacqueline Rubino, and ultimately confronts a sinister force hell-bent on securing an encoded document that promises to imperil the very supremacy of the United States. And those are a couple comments. If you get onto my website, you'll see a good many comments. Could be here all day with that. Let's see. Praise for the Teacher. This is, again, the second book in the 4-book series. And this is a nice accolade. This is from, I don't know this, I didn't know of this person before. I haven't kept in contact. I didn't know this person. As a forensic psychologist specializing in psychopathy, I have been researching authors who write fiction in the field of forensic psychology. I am impressed with Banfelder's well-researched, credible, and unique plots regarding the criminal mind. The Teacher was an easy, enjoyable read. The author painted an excellent picture of a psychopath through Clarence Emery. I noticed quite a few subtleties, such as his inability to be nervous, always in control, and establishing relationships only for secondary gain. Bravo! It is always nice to see the field advance. And this was critiqued by Dr. Jason D. Dunham, licensed psychologist, fellowship trained in forensic psychology. And I could go on with another comment, but don't want to belabor it. The third book in the series is called Knots. Knots. Okay, Donna is holding in on this. And this is an interesting character in that he wants to emulate Malcolm Columbo and Clarence Emery. He is not a serial killer. He wants to be a serial killer. There are reasons that he enters, some serious monetary reasons why he enters into this realm. He is terrifying. He is terrifying, as were his counterparts. So, let's see what else I should touch on here. He's a wannabe serial killer. Now, some of you may not be familiar with this, but the book deals with the theme of cloning. And when I wrote this book, there was a group steeped in serious science. They were taken very, very seriously on the cloning horizon. And the name of that group was Clonaid, C-L-O-N-A-I-D. Got to protect the names of the innocent here. So I made, if you're into this, you'll pick up on this right away. I made the name Clonite, C-L-O-N-I-T-E. They are connected with the real name, the Russellian movement. And I'll spell that R-C-E with umlauts over the E, L-I-A-N, the Russellian movement. And I called that actual organization the Reality Church. So whereas Reality Church and Clonite are fictitious names, the real names are Clonite and the Russellian movement. An interesting novel with a twist. Many of the people who critique my works say, just when I got this plot figured out, he throws me a curve. I like to be unique. I like to give you a big surprise, and I'll bet you won't figure a lot of these novels out until the end. And that's where I want you to be. I want you to go, OMG, oh my God, oh my God. And let's see. From there, we'll look at the last book in the 4-book series, the tetralogy, called The Good Samaritans. And I'll hold that up for Donna to home in on. And that will complete the 4-book series. A little bit on the Good Samaritans. There's a name of a club that probably many of you are not familiar with. It's called the Bohemian Club out of California. And this is a real name now, this is an annual gathering of the country's elite. We're talking about politicos, we're talking about corporal business folks, we're talking about industry magnates, we're talking about finance, high finance folks. And this club was dubbed by, going back to the days of President Herbert Hoover, it was dubbed by him as the greatest men's party on the face of the earth. This club exists. This is not made up. This is, how many people know about? Have you heard about the Bohemian Club? A lot of secret things go on there. A lot of speeches that change the political landscape are given there. It is an amazing story within itself. And I did tremendous homework, and I think, well, I'll let you read the book there. So I could go on and excerpt and kind of seduce you into, picking up one of these books, but what we'll do is we'll just excerpt from one of the 4 books. We'll excerpt from the author and see why it's terrifying. And let's see. My notes tell me to go to chapter 12, page 42. Okay, And I'll preface with this. We have a serial killer who's going to sharpen, no, not a knife. He's going to sharpen ice skate blades. Have you heard of anyone being done in, cut up with ice skate blades? Different, unique, and that's what I try to do, as I mentioned earlier. So, Malcolm Columba meets Becky Dawson, an 8-year-old skating on a pond in back of her home. And I'll kind of get into this. I don't want to set the stage. It would take me, 3 pages to set the stage. Columba says to Becky, "I usually am right," he stated quite surely. "My parents would tell me that I take a very good read on people." Becky was staring quizzically. Huh? Reading people? How can you read people? "Like you read a book, Becky, but instead of staring down at the words upon a page, you look into a person's eyes. They speak volumes without saying a single word. Then, when you really get good, you take in the entire face and body, observing the way a person moves their lips, even how they stand, what they do with their hands when they are speaking. You can tell so much about a person by studying them as you would a book." Malcolm stooped and opened his suitcase. Becky looked inside. "Wow! Neat? My brother would like them a lot. Racers, right? You're a very bright little girl, Becky. And so are you. Anyone who can read a person like they read a book has got to be smart." "Thank you, Becky. That was a very nice thing to say." "Well, it's true." Malcolm gave a queer little smile. "What's in the bag? What's in the paper bag?" she asked, pointing with her green mitten. She has a red mitten on one hand and a green mitten on the other. That's a little present I brought along especially for you." "Me?" "Yes, you." He handed her the plain brown bag, its top sealed closed in a series of folds. Becky took and felt the weight of the package. "Go ahead, open it. It's a gift from me to you." Becky thought she heard something jingling inside the second she received her present. She jiggled the bundle and heard the sound again, carefully opening the bag and taking a peek inside. She shook her head in disbelief, staring from the contents to the man. Malcolm smiled broadly. "Figure skates," the girl cried, "with tiny little bells. And I believe they're exactly your size. That is, with a pair of heavy woolen socks like you're wearing. They're beautiful, white as falling snow." "I know," she said and giggled excitedly, removing the pair as Malcolm retrieved the paper bag and returned it to his suitcase. "Why don't you try them on?" "Can I?" "I don't see why not. They're yours." Now we'll skip a few pages and just go on to give you the flavor of what's going on here. It was as Becky finished lacing up and removing a protective rubber guard from one of the steel runners that she noticed something strange. The blade. It was different from anything she had seen before. Becky compared it to the older pair, examining them closely. Malcolm was studying Becky, reading her like a book. Hey, there's something funny here, Malcolm. What's that? Malcolm was sitting on a rock, putting on his racers. The blade. What about it? The man was racing with his laces. It's sharp. It's supposed to be sharp. Remember what I told you? Yeah, but this is really sharp. Really and truly? Malcolm inquired with a grin. It's supposed to be flat on the bottom like this. Becky held up one of her sister's old skates. See? Susie, this is the dog that is accompanying Becky on the pond. Susie was staring up at the elevated skate as though it were a large tree. Woof, the terrier sounded. That, Becky dear, is supposed to be very sharp. The bearer of the gift got to his feet. See, like these. He lifted up his right leg and showed her his skate. Right leg? Okay. And then the other. Like a knife? She asked, her face all scrunched up in confusion. Like a razor, he replied, slashing his right leg out at nothing, holding it perfectly steady in the cold, still air. Becky said nothing. Malcolm noticed satisfactorily, setting his foot on the ground again. Neither of them said a word for what seemed an eternity. Finally, Malcolm spoke. I think you're reading me perfectly, Becky, and I want you to know that I'm really and truly very proud of you, he said with a smirk. Becky began to cry. Now get up! Take that other guard off. There was a sharp edge to his tone. Becky immediately did as she was told. Now, there's a line that you are not to supposedly cross. And that is dealing with the violence. Remember in the other segment we covered, don't tell me, show me in the writing. I paint pictures with words. Okay, so I'll take it to the threshold. I'll take it a step. You'll know what happens. You can use your imagination just like in a Hitchcock scene in Psycho with the curtain rod, the rings around the curtain rod being ripped as the body falls into the bathtub and the blood is eddying down the drain. You'll know the aftermath from what the detectives unfold. And so I'll take it that far. But this business, children, we draw the line there. No, I want the reader to see what serial killers do to men, women, and children. Okay, so that pretty much brings us to the conclusion of these 4 books, and I'll make a comment or two. You can order these books through Amazon or me, and if you order them, I'll certainly autograph the copy, personalize for you or special someone, save you the tax and or shipping handling if you're local. And Donna, is there anything you'd like to add to this before we conclude?
Well, we have to let the folks know that they, like you said, they can buy the author, the teacher, Knots, and The Good Samaritans on Amazon. But if you're an ebook reader, these 4 books are also available as an ebook on Amazon. And if you're into reading on your Kindle or your Nook or your iPhone, then this is perfect, and you will be saving some money. I will put the link to Amazon under the video for you to click on and check out, along with Bob's website.
I mentioned this book the last time, and I just want to preface with all of my books, the books that we've covered here, and the books, my novels that we will be covering, and the books, my nonfiction books that we'll be covering, they can all be purchased or help me out here, Donna, on what you just...
As an ebook.
As an ebook.
As an ebook.
The Essential Guide to Writing Well and Getting Published cannot, and there's a reason for it. It's color-coded, and it's just like next to impossible to do. So you do have to pay full price for this, right?
Right.
Right.
If you're interested.
Again, Poor Dog That Can't Wake Its Own Tail. This is one of the better books on writing out there. I've been through from high school days through college days. What I did is there were so many lessons I did not understand, and I took the best of all the lessons that I learned, incorporated to what I learned myself over the years. And it's a guide. It's not a heavy duty. It's not going to knock you out. You digest these chapters at your lessons, I should say, at your own rate, and you will be surprisingly on your way to writing well and getting published. And I think we'll end it there.
Yeah, I think so. I think you
Okay.
did a good job. And again, I'm going to tell you that you will love Justin. He is sharp, smart, witty, and he knows what he's doing, and he has it all over these bad guys. Right?
Right.
Okay. Thank you so much for watching Special Interest with Bob and Donna. The best serial killer books on the market you're going to find right here. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, Special Interest with Bob and Donna. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day.